Okay. Hello everyone. So today we're gonna be talking about some stuff. Now if you don't know, there's a new uh Rings of Power trailer. And it's excuse me. I'm kind of sick today. I'm so sick today. Not super sick, but I have a runny nose. It's winter. Obviously I might get something. So I want to talk about what's going on with the Rings of Power. Obviously, not anything good. I need to open this to show you. Now let's look at the Rings of Power. What's going on? A lot of people out there really hope that the show would be good. A lot of people want the show to be good. The graphics, to some people, it looks amazing. The music is serenade, actually. Uh, like, everything is so cool when you look at those aspects. But at the end, what it all boils down to is if it's a good story. Because they are making new original characters. They are filling in the blanks that they found in Tolkien's work, and they are trying their best to kind of make it as vivid as today. Basically, trying to match the world for today. I'm sure you had a couple of interviews with a couple of producers, a couple of Tolkien experts, so-called Tolkien experts. I'm sure you have heard a couple of them say we need to match it for the modern world. When in reality, you need to understand that in Tolkien's work, there are a lot of themes that can match a lot of people's life. For example, the theme of friendship in Lord of the Rings. Uh, loyalty. You know, stuff like that. Those things are timeless. But of course, we live in 2022 where a lot of people think everyone must look the same in order to understand them, which is ridiculous. Which is so ridiculous. You know, I watched a lot of cartoons when I was a kid with different animals. I'm not an animal, but I was able to understand what they're doing. I can like these different characters and they have different themes. You know, so at the end of the day, this argument of everyone needs to look the same in order for people to see themselves, it's ridiculous. So basically, we have a couple of people talking about this saying it's generic, it's not that good, okay? And if you watch the trailer, it seems like they're showing a lot of fancy stuff. They're not really talking so much about the story. Obviously some heavy aspects of it, but they're not going to talk about the regular aspects. It's gonna be like almost an hour per episode, okay? Almost an hour. That's a lot of content. You need uh, a lot of time consumption basically for these shows, you know. And obviously, you need to understand that they're basing this off a couple of pages, I guess, based on the second age of Tolkien's work. So obviously, they don't have that much rights to most of the stuff, and they have to add their own crap, and it's gonna be so political. Then we have I don't know who this woman is. Uh, okay, Red Queen novelist. I've never heard of her. I have never heard of her. I'm not trying to be rude. I just never heard of her. I have never heard of a lot of people. Okay. Um, Imagine being married to that Vashti in the new Lord of the Rings show. Now, as you can see, it's a blue check mark. Blue check marks always, not all of them, but the majority of them always like to whine about everything. And once again, look at this. This guy is pointing out that they're defiling Tolkien's work and pushing agenda. They don't care about actual diversity. If you look at Amazon's hiring list, if you look at their hiring list, it is so offensive if you think about it because You cannot hire anyone based on talent. Basically, you must hire them based on race or sexuality, which is utterly offensive for some people. Because imagine training yourself to be an actor, and they only care about your race. You know, they only care about your race. You only hired for your race to fill a check mark. That's it. Many of these people in this series, they are just check marks. They're just there to tick off a checkbox. That's it. They don't care about actual diversity. You know. Then we have another person out there coming up and saying racist Tolkien fans are boring, stuff like that. And once again, it takes an insultingly spectacular lack of imagination for someone to claim they love the universe Tolkien created. But then there's someone with a different skin color. Suddenly it has to be homogeneous and close. It's fiction. You need to understand that Tolkien's work specifically was for Europe. So guess what? A lot of people will look more European, okay? This is not like the end of the world. When you have African shows taking place in Africa about African mythology, guess what? It's gonna be 100% black. So don't expect the same way around for the same people to respect your work. A lot of these SJWs, they won't respect your work. You know, they'll want other people's work from different cultures to be very accurate, but something from Europe, no, it must obviously show every race for some reason. You know, that's insane. That really is insane. You can't go to India and tell them, okay, you need to have XYZ races or else you're a bigot. It wouldn't make sense to tell them that, you know? Unless it's part of the story or something, then it wouldn't make sense, you know? You can't force anyone to do that, so why is it okay when it happens to European stories? Once again, it's also not insane to update the perspectives of a series written many decades ago. Truly not the end of the world, and there we go with the cherry on top. Many of these people don't like Tolkien's work. They don't care about Tolkien's themes, what his beliefs were. They don't care about his stories. They just want it to be updated to the modern age because it's popular to a bunch of people, so they want it to match the current world, their worldview, not other people's worldview. Trust me, Tolkien, if you read some of his letters or hear of what he wrote, this guy was so different. Like, trust me, like, he literally, in one of his letters, he spoke about men and women, and they should not be friends unless they're old, and like basically very old people. Like, that's it. That's what he said. These same people would have gone berserk if he was alive today and said that. I'm just saying, many of these people out there, you know, people like this, they don't like Tolkien's work. They don't even like him. They don't like the man. They should come out and say it because at the end of the day, they don't like the man. They always want it to be of their standards, not anyone else's. And that's a problem. And then we have a lot of people out there. A lot of people are talking back, but it doesn't matter to do check marks. They already whined about that, so that's what I'm trying to say. Many of these people don't care about Tolkien's work. And here's the thing, you may be wondering, why did they adapt Tolkien's work in the first place? Because one, it has an established audience. Two, the work is almost done, if you think about it. Yeah, there are a couple of blank pages here and there, a couple of stories that need to be filled in, but at the end of the day, Tolkien finished his work. Well, his son finished it up for him because he passed away, but at the end of the day, his work is complete, Stories are written, it has an established fan base, it's pretty popular, people know some of the characters. So that's why they are using this story to tell their own story, using it as a bridge to tell their story. They don't care about Tolkien's themes, as I said, don't care about any of that type of stuff. They just want to tell their own story. And, I'm all for interesting adaptations, but using this to push your politics is very messed up because, once again, Tolkien's work wasn't really political about left and right or whatever. It wasn't about that whatsoever. So you see a lot of people try to politicize it because it has to match modern days. Everything has to match modern days, which really sucks because there's no escape. I mentioned this a couple of times. There is a war on escapism. There's literally a war on escapism, and it's been going on for some time. You're not allowed to watch something or read something that makes you feel happy or makes you escape to a different world because it's offensive to some people, you know? We live in a world where, and I'm sorry for whining like this, but this is the honest way to speak about this, you know? We live in a world where people want everything to match their own, you know? And if it doesn't, then that's a problem, you know? I don't care that what, there's no people like me in Middle Earth or in some of Tolkien's work. I know there are a couple of brown characters or, people in some regions, but at the end of the day, Tolkien was mostly writing about what he wanted, you know. For example, my stories, one of my main pieces of work will take place in Africa. Obviously, my world is very scattered across, basically, you know. In one of my stories, the earth is basically very diverse, you know. However, there's a reason why it became so diverse and everyone commingled together. I'm not going to mention that reason, but at the end of the day, you know, um, my pieces of work will have a lot of inspiration from African culture, stuff like that, you know. So it will really be annoying if I did not do that, you know, because I'm so proud of that. I always wanted to express some of my love for African culture, to research more about African culture and put it upon my own works because I loved African culture. It's so unique, you know. I may not know everything about it, but I really appreciate it. I really like the fact that there's so much upon this land, and I love to express it out, you know. So that will be totally fine. But why can't Europeans express their love for their fantasies, without getting a bunch of people mad? That's the problem. You're not allowed to think or have any other opinion besides everyone must be mixed up when it comes to European stuff. It doesn't make sense. You know, it just doesn't make sense in the slightest for them to always push this stuff. Now, the trailer does have a lot of dislikes, and a lot of people mostly are wondering on how the story is going to be because graphics may look good, music may be wonderful, but at the end of the day, what about your story? What about the story? Is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? They did race swap a character, I believe. I'm not so sure if they announced that if that's the same character, but they did race swap a character by, a lot of people are talking about that. So a lot of people are very, very quiet on, the dislikes now, a lot of mainstream media sites, because when the first trailer dropped back early this year, wow, the mainstream media went after Tolkien fans, you know. Den of Geek. Now, Den of Geek, I think, was one of the people that actually one of the sites that actually went after uh, a couple of people, fans basically, who disagreed with what's going on. Now, obviously, a lot of people are so excited about this for the views and spectacle. It's gonna be a woke show. That's all I can actually say because they are actually showing so much of spectacle and not really heavily focusing on mentioning so much of the story. We all know, yes, it's going to be about Sauron and forging up the rings and stuff like that, but there's a lot in between. You need to understand. Almost an hour long. That's a lot of time to push a lot of politics. They also have original characters. That's, as I said, a lot of time to push their own stuff. So what they've shown in the trailers is just selected stuff. That's all, basically. Just a couple of selected things. That's all. At the end of the day, they're adding a lot of stuff. Okay, they're hiding a lot of stuff, and when it comes out, it's going to be a very hard to discuss topic because you will have a lot of people, especially normies, talk about the show and want the show to always be number one no matter what. And if anyone disagrees with it, then they are bad people. You know, it will be a very difficult topic to speak about on YouTube because once again, once it comes out, people are going to be talking about it more than ever before. So it's going to be such a problem, you know. And once again, people are still going to blame Nerdrotic and all of the die-hard fans for protecting Tolkien's work and being against the woke nonsense. You know, they literally believe that Nerdrotic is bringing the culture war to Middle Earth, when in reality, Amazon did that first. Amazon literally said they want to, you know, they want to call the fans racist. They want to focus on diversity. They want to rewrite certain stuff. They want to make a book that Tolkien never wrote, basically. You know, at the end of the day, they are the ones who brought the war, you know, the culture war upon Middle Earth. People are defending what they like. You know, many of these anti-SJWs who are defending this, guess what? They're defending this because they know what happened. It happened to Star Wars, Star Trek. They've seen it happening with their own eyes. They know what's going to happen next, you know? So I'm just saying, it really sucks to see how so many people are so focused on that, you know? Trying to, just trying to basically attack other people and call them evil for defending things. Once again, a lot of people are having different discussions over here. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how good it looks, okay? I understand looks is one thing of the appeal, but the problem is that it doesn't matter about the looks. You know, we all know that the story is going to be so woke, so why does it matter? Even if they almost spent $1 billion, it doesn't matter. That's $1 billion down the drain for propaganda. You're welcome. Okay? At the end of the day, it's not about having fun moments or having a fun show, which I would really love if people made fun stuff, but they don't do it. They don't make one. They don't want to make fun stuff, you know? Moving on. Moving on for a short while, we want to talk about this. Now, if you don't know, there's this game, Bayonetta. Now, basically, Bayonetta 3, third game, I guess. I don't know that much about this game. I remember back in the day, PewDiePie played it, and I always was so fascinated by how naughty the game was, you know? It was one of my first introductions to Bayonetta, but I'm not really so interested in it, you know? Now, the sequel features a naive angel mode that prevents the titular witch's clothes from disappearing when she transforms. Basically, when she would transform, I think, what, the clothes would pop up? I can't recall, or am I mixing something up? Basically, when she fights and stuff, you'll see all the butts, you'll basically see, like some real cool angles, you know? And that was amazing, you know? Really interesting stuff. Developer Platinum Games revealed an option mode for people scared of digital female sexuality. And once again, the people who are offended by this stuff are not the ones that are very religious. Those days are over where the over religious used to be offended over these things. Now it's the same people who used to be pro video games. They've become the enemy of video games. Once again. So I think having a censored option, I had a poll about this yesterday, and it turns out that so far 4 people responded to the poll, and all of them said no. They did not want to have an option for censorship, you know? Because if you look, like, it's just a mode, you may think, but I still think that's just pointless putting too much work into it. If a game's supposed to be like this, if a game's supposed to be like this, if the moment's supposed to be like this, where you see all this type of naughtiness, then what's the point of censoring it? You know, then why make it in the first place if you know you're gonna censor it? I don't understand why so many people want these games to be censored. These same SJWs will attack you for, when you complain about something. What are they doing? Instead of them trying out something else, because you know what they always tell, if you don't like it, don't buy it. It does not apply to them because they want everything. Okay, these people want everything. They are ultra consumers. Okay, ultra consumers, and they want everything. So at the end of the day, they want everything. So in order for them to have everything, they want every company to listen to them, not to do whatever and be, stand on their own. No, no, no. They want them companies to listen to them, and as you can see, it's working. It's so annoying that this is a thing. Okay, if people are offended by this, why play the game in the first place? Why play the game in the first place? Is this game like an adult game as well? Or whatever. And secondly, a lot of people may think, well, it's Nintendo is doing this. No, no, no. Nintendo has some adult games. There are plenty of adult games on Nintendo, especially on the Nintendo Switch. It's the company doing this themselves. The company believes that, you need to listen and cave into the SJWs. You need to always listen to them. You know? It's so sad that the same SJWs will cheer me on when I wear stuff like this. Okay? If I wore something like this, they'll be so excited for sure. But in a video game, they have to cover it up because it's offensive for some reason. And it really sucks because, as I said, if your work's supposed to be like this, then why censor it? Don't have a censored version. Then don't get it if you don't want it. Simple as that. This used to be the thing that the SJW said. You don't have to force yourself to buy every game. I want to make that very clear. Just because it's out doesn't mean you need to get it. Okay? Just because it's a video game doesn't mean everyone needs to get it. There's a reason why people have different tastes. Not everyone can enjoy everything. I don't play a lot of games besides a lot of Monster Hunter stuff. Okay, I stick to what I like. Okay, as much as I may not agree with all the other games, I don't purchase it. I don't purchase it. I don't waste my time purchasing it. So why is it? Why is it that these games have to bow down to people? Okay, that don't even want to play the game, but they have to because of consumering, basically. It's such a heavy problem. You know. Once again, you are trying to bow down to this mob who don't like you, who want you dead, basically. I'm not even joking. SJWs, they don't want you. They don't want you in their space. They don't want you anywhere if you slightly disagree with them. You have to bow down to them or it's sky high, And it really sucks because, there used to be a thing of agree to disagree, but not anymore. They don't want you to agree to disagree. They want you gone. And if you don't bow down to them, oh, it's the end of the world, So bowing down to them is just pointless. Don't give them this type of stuff. I'm telling you it as someone who wants to make their own games. Don't bow down to them. Do not bow down to these people because it'll never be enough. Okay, this censorship mode will never be enough because they'll find something to be offended over, and then they'll really push you against the wall and bicker about that. Trust me, these people, give them an inch, they take a kilometer. Okay, they run a marathon. Okay, if you give them an inch, so don't do that. Do not do that, please. It really sucks because look at this stuff. Like, there's no need for it. There is no need for a censored option. It used to be a thing of, oh, don't like it, don't play it, as they would always say. But now they want to play everything because they always want to purchase everything to be part of the conversation, to pretend, FOMO, fear of missing out, They have the high case of FOMO, fear of missing out, And I know a lot of people may feel like, FOMO, but at the end of the day, it's better to not even have FOMO and just ignore it. Overcome your FOMO problems and live life, because the fear of missing out should not be a thing. I know we all have that issue. When I was a kid, I used to have a lot of FOMO, you know, but then I realized that it was so pointless sometimes. There used to be this fear in me that if I don't go somewhere, I will miss out something, you know. But sometimes it's like, it's pointless. So at the end of the day, when it comes to video games and purchasing stuff with your money, don't have FOMO. Do not have FOMO, okay? Do not have the fear of missing out. Do not have that. Just enjoy your life, you know? So you can tell why a lot of SJWs want this to be censored because, as I said, FOMO. They want to get this. They want to just get it for the sake of the conversation. They want to get it because it's you, because it's brand new, or a lot of other people are playing it. They don't care about enjoying it for what it is. They don't want it. What's the point? Okay, here we have the rings of power. So as you can see, a lot of people are talking about this. Some hate, some admiring. But at the end of the day, you can clearly tell that it's going to be a woke show. And of course, they're bringing hobbits in this, well, half-woods basically. Proto-hobbits, even though there was no such thing in the Second Age. They're just doing it because they need viewers. They need a lot of people. Because not everyone knows about, knows anything else about Middle Earth besides hobbits and orcs and stuff like that. So they need to bring hobbits in so people can feel happy. They can easily transition to watching the show. It's not going to be the same like Peter Jackson's movies. Okay, if you're expecting that, it's not going to be that whatsoever. Okay, look at this. Yes, we can all agree the visuals are stunning. However, this has been a growing theme in Hollywood these days. The trailers absolutely knocks it out of the park, and the final product ends up bombing. Exactly. Remember He-Man? Remember last year with He-Man? Remember that stuff? Oh my gosh. Remember how many people in the comments were so hyped up? They were saying, oh yeah, now do this show, now do that show. They were so hyped up. The animation quality was amazing. The trailer was fantastic. But obviously, they were bait and switch. And it was so hilarious to just see how many people get all hyped for that show when it turned out to be a trash show. And when it came out, a lot of people were disappointed. A lot of the people who hyped it up, very quiet about this now, very quiet. At the end of the day, there were people warning about what's to come for He-Man, and no one listened to them. And then things happened, and then people started listening. The actual story, okay, it's in the trailer, the script, overall themes, can never be pieced together in these short clips. Yeah, we often find, okay, there's no production. Okay, yeah, because you need to understand that people need to be skeptical of what's going on. Yeah, the visuals are stunning, but let's be real. We are fear about the quality of the story. Tolkien's letter 2110. No, 210. I do honestly hope that in the assignment of actual speeches to the characters, they will be represented as I have presented them in style and sentiment. That writing right over there, something that most people these days can't even write. Not even I can write like that. I'm trying to. I'm trying to write as much as I can, like the best people out there. But I think I won't really work that well with that. But I gotta keep trying, to keep increasing my English, keep increasing my potential of writing. Are they having okay, basically, Gladriel is basically woman-splaining to Elrond. uh, With each sunrise, I look to the east to greet the new day and wonder it's brought with it. Oh wow, that's beautiful. One line is so beautiful. Honestly. Okay. The shadow that bred them can only mock. It cannot make, not real new things of its own. Wow, Tolkien was ahead of his time. Honestly, if only he saw what was today. Ah, he would never love it. A lot of people are basically saying very similar stuff. I'm very happy a lot of people aren't so accepting over this because you need to understand that when it came to He-Man, so many people were opening up their arms, majority of people, and they never learned their lessons, some of them. And now some others are learning their lessons. God, I'm so happy that the Peter Jackson trilogy was created 20 years ago. Exactly. You know, it was created in a time where people gave no shits about politics. You know, well, not many people gave shits about politics. You know, the world is grey, the mountains cold, the forge's fire is ashen cold, no harp is rung, no hammer fall, the darkness dwells in Durin's halls. Yeah, the world is grey. You know, Hollywood is also grey. You know, no doubt the production and the music are going to be amazing, but I seriously hope they do a good job with the plot. I can't wait to see this, but I'm fearful of the result. A lot of people are so worried. You know, the burden of worry really soars them, and you need to understand that's very important because they've seen a lot of things. They've seen a lot of shows ebb away. Okay, and it's important to point out that you know point it out and say, hey, this happened in the past, don't do it again. Don't be surprised, it's a major trend. Um, Meh, they already drove of trolls trying to destroy us. Why we try to ruin everything great before it has a chance? I'll never understand. And here's the other thing I don't understand as well, because many people try to defend it so much, you know, but it's like we can clearly see that that there's a lot of politics in it. There's going to be a lot of wokeness in it. We can clearly see that. So at the end of the day, at the end of the day, it's not us that are trying to destroy it. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of people try and blame Melrodic and all his other buddies for defending the show and trying to be very faithful to the source material. But guess what? They also call them evil for wanting to bring a culture war in Middle Earth when it was actually the opposite. This production company, Bad Robots, you know, wanted to bring politics into it. The people they hired wanted politics into it. So at the end of the day, it's the people who are creating the show are the ones bringing the war, the culture war to Middle Earth. Okay, because all the ones keep digging up the past and shitting on its grave, in its grave. Exactly. Well, it's on, not in. Shitting on its grave, not in it. Okay, to be fair, it's in, but you know. Okay, yeah, in. My bad. My bad. Sometimes I get confused about English. You know. Trust me, when I'm writing every single time, my head goes back and forth. Is it in? Is it on? Is it was? Is it what? Is it you know, when to put an exclamation, when to do this, when to do that. You know, like your head keeps bubbling inside. Sorry, like I go crazy sometimes with English. Sometimes I make a mistake. There's plenty of mistakes. Wake up, people! The shiny colors and soundtracks are smoke and mirrors to obfuscate the message. Resist the temptation. Stand your ground. The precious temptation, guys. You know, resist temptation. You know, marketing 101. It's so easy to have bright colors, beautiful music, but at the end of the day, you can clearly see what they're trying to do. You know, the trailer looks better than the previous one, but considering the Wheel of Time trailers look and how the show turned out, the Wheel of Time was a woke show. You know, still unsure how the story is going to be, but man, it's great to hear the legendary work of Howard Shaw again. The trilogy will never be surpassed. Yep, it'll never be surpassed. Okay, not even the Hobbit trilogy can surpass that. So I'm just saying, the Lord of the Rings trilogy is so good. Um, evil is not capable, and that's true. Evil is not capable of creating anything new. And look at this. It felt only natural to us that an adaptation of Tolkien's work would reflect what the world actually looks like. Lindsay Weber, Amazon Lord of the Rings series, Vanity Fair. Then we have another one from Peter Jackson. There are certainly themes Tolkien felt were important. We made a promise to ourselves at the beginning of the process that we aren't going to put any of our own politics, our own messages, our own themes in the movies. What we're trying to do is analyze what is important in Tolkien and try to honor that. Literally, literally, that's the best thing out there. Oh, I liked it. I think there's a glitch going on with my like button. Maybe it's only me. The past is dead. Sounds like some serious Peter Jackson envy. Peter Jackson, you know, as much as I think The Hobbit was a terrible, terrible trilogy, especially the final one, you could obviously agree that the Lord of the Ring trilogy is so beautiful. It's so beautiful, and back then Peter Jackson was just a low budget director making horror movies and stuff like that. You know, I feel like we can go back to the days of making things with props rather than relying too much on CGI. You know, the past is dead. Okay, yeah. I don't know how much clearer they could say that they don't care on. I think is that Iota about Tolkien's legacy, his characters, the way he wrote them, his themes, or his fans of his work. Visuals mean nothing if there's no real story, and that's true. That's true. Tolkien uses story to create visuals, not using visuals to make up for no story. Exactly. Exactly. So, yeah, you know. Then we have this one. I think I liked it. I don't know. My like button is not working. Oh, well, sometimes it doesn't say I liked it, you know, for some reason. Okay. Tolkien once said his biggest resentment would be the perversion of his characters. And that's true. This is a man who has such strong Catholic beliefs. This is a man who has a lot of strange beliefs that some will disagree with, but I can actually agree with most of his beliefs. And at the end of the day, he didn't want his characters to be perversed, you know. So you can tell what they're trying to do, they're trying to pervert it, you know. Okay, it's 10 o'clock, I had a pie for breakfast. Yeah, I had a pie, a mutton pie for breakfast. Pretty good. Pretty good stuff. I also have a donut in the fridge, but I'm trying my best to wait a while to eat that because you need to understand that I don't want to eat so soon every time. Take a break, and only when I really need the sugar, because I'm not eating that much sugar anymore. I know we need sugar in our bodies to help us energize ourselves, but you need to understand that if I have too much, my teeth will ebb. So I need to actually watch what I eat and when I eat. You know, um, 2 trees. Okay. Honestly, they have no idea what they're doing. But once again, don't be surprised. Another show is going to come out in the next couple of months, but based on something from the past. We're also getting that Snow White live action. Oh, that's going to be hilarious. It's going to be hilarious how many people defend that train wreck. Because everything has to be woke. And it's funny to see how even the set of Snow White live action burns down. It's like a message. Like Walt Disney did not want his adaptation of Snow White to be remade. Okay, this was one of his first ever major projects. Okay, and he worked very hard on that. Okay, he wanted it to be perfect. He paved the path for animation, and this is what they do to his legacy. Honestly, I like the parts where Galadriel says it's mobbing time. Some people can't wait, but some people know. J.K. Rowling is truly amazing. What? J.K. Rowling? I don't know if that's a troll comment or if it's if the person doesn't know who's working this. That comment caught me off guard. A lot of people want to die with the past, you know. Amazon changed so much in the Wheel of Time, only names were recognizable. Yeah, people complain about that too. The past is dead, we either move on or we die with it. Gee, I wonder if they're referring to the movies everyone loves. There's no curse in Elvish, Entish, or tongues of men bad enough for such treachery. False hopes are more dangerous than fears. That's technically true as well. You know, why have so much of false hopes when your fears sound more rational? False hopes are very rational these days. Okay, so anyways, yesterday for I was working on a drawing for my book, and it looks okay. It looks okay, and it looks pretty cool. It looks very close to how I wanted it to look, and it's perfect. Now, even though the slope mountains, as I'm calling it, the slope mountains, it's a mountain that's very much as a minuscule uh, part in the story. Like it's just there for something. But I'm thinking of obviously stretching its law in a separate series altogether because it feels like there is some law about it. Because this mountain used to be very beautiful. So the Slope Mountains is a mountain that I created that used to be very beautiful. All of a sudden something happened, and obviously it's unsure in this specific story that I'm working on because the mountains is not the major part of the story. It's something so minuscule. You'll forget about it once you reach chapter 3. You'll completely forget about it, or even chapter 4. You'll completely forget about it. That's how minuscule it is. But at the same time, it can also bear its own story in a separate book or even a video game because it has some interesting concepts for what happened to the mountains and how it turned from something so beautiful into something so disturbing. It also has a putrid smell as well, you know? Okay. Uh, what else? We have other people talking about this. A lot of people react to it. You will get the common people react to it. Not really know that much, or not really dabble that much about Tolkien's work. You know. Oh, it looks good. That's all it'll be. People will say it looks good. Well, guess what? Guess what? Some people look very good, and sometimes they have rotten personalities. Just saying. Just saying. You know. So yeah, things like that can happen. Some people are defending Tolkien's legacy, and I'm glad about that. I'm glad that they're not bowing down to SJWs and letting Tolkien's work be wilting away. They're defending Tolkien's work, so I'm happy. But there are also people out there who are just saying, "Shut up and just accept it." Once again, some people don't know much about this type of stuff. And if only they knew what's going on, most of them will be mad, most of them will be excited. That's how it is. You either fall either on those two categories, you know, you're excited or you're mad. That's how it falls down, you know. It really sucks. I really wish a lot of people knew more about this. Not really everything about the law, but just the controversy itself, so you can actually make people understand. Hey, this is not Tolkien's work. This is literally a dump on Tolkien's work. Okay. My adventure book is actually inspired by uh, Tolkien's work. Like the adventure aspects of it. But the rest of my work has always been inspired by anime or Monster Hunter. You'll see a lot of Monster Hunter stuff in my new book as well. So yeah, but the idea of going on an adventure, a proper adventure, that's something from Tolkien. Any fan of Tolkien's work wish for it to be preserved and honored, and we would condemn this art woke garbage. I like how everyone calls it art woke or woke garbage. You know, I like how many people call it that. I'm just saying it's it's funny because I think of my bin. I think of all the bin bags, and I think how full it is. That's what I think of when I think of garbage. I'm sure many people do, obviously. uh, Okay, to compare the show to Peter Jackson's brilliant original trilogy of the great works of Tolkien is an insult to both men. This has neither the look or feel of Middle Earth. I mean, the elves don't even look like elves. The elf men, most of them look like teenage boys. Okay, you need to understand some of the elves. They have this hairstyle that's very outdated in some places because this hairstyle used to be pretty popular a couple of years ago. Now all the boys go for the curly hairstyles. But I'm just saying, back in the day, that hairstyle used to be pretty popular, like a couple of years ago, basically. Um, you know, this is yet another grab by half-rate hacks to repurpose a greater man's work and destroy the franchise. Okay, yeah, yeah. Basically, um, story appropriation. Like, I'm not interested in watching this intended perversion of his work. Yeah, perversion. Okay, this is not pervy sage. This is not pervy sage's work. Okay, this is not Jiraiya Sensei's work. This is Tolkien's work. Okay, so it's gonna be very different. You know, but it didn't draw me in. Yeah, like Amazon is afraid to show the real deal. That's why they're showing a lot of cinematic effects and stuff like that. A lot of beautiful colors because they want a lot of people. They think this is their final bait to throw in the water and fish a great big normie out of the freaking water. But of course, Of course, it has more dislikes. The trailer for the official channel has more dislikes than likes. So, so it is interesting to see how many people will defend this when it comes out. The show comes out on 2nd September. It's either a sad respect, paying respect to Tolkien's passing, or it is a mockery. It's either one of the two. So I don't know. You know, I don't know what they're planning to do with that type of stuff. You know, a lot of people are really, really, really worried how this is gonna be. I'm worried as well. You know, I'm very worried. Some people will easily accept things. Some people won't. People are defended forever. You know, because Tolkien is not, you know, as much as I worked so much on my own work, I built worlds, I've written down so much of a different timeline and stuff like that. You know, like if you see what Tolkien's done, Tolkien is a smart man, honestly. There's a man that literally works so hard on his work, you know? His English surpasses mine by a marathon. I feel like my English will upgrade over time, but yeah. At best, my opinion isn't changed. Okay? This looks like an original Amazon fantasy. You know, they're also having. By the way, this is something that was actually leaked out uh, by some channels as well, some Tolkien lore channels. Guess what? When it comes to armies, there's going to be a 50-50 ratio of men and women. I know that surprisingly people know what a woman is now, but jokes aside, it's going to be a 50-50. Why? Why? If the army is supposed to be all men, if men were only the fighters, and what is the problem with that? You know, and once again, as I said, diversity casting. They require to hire all these things. Okay, hire all these people. Okay, interesting. Okay, but why the story is like that? Tell me why the story is so woke. You know, because it's one thing to have the casting of wokeness, but the next thing is also to have a story of wokeness as well. You know, it's going to be a 50-50 ratio. You know, you need to have 50 men, 50 women. Why? Why? I doubt there were women in I doubt there were much women in these you know, fighting in these worlds. But of course, they need to push it in. And I'm surprised no one is talking about that. Like barely people are mentioning that, how the 50-50 ratio of the soldiers are going to be. It really sucks, you know? And of course, look, zero interest in Amazon socially political fan fiction. I've been labeled a bigot for not wanting to watch fan fiction. Shrug. Fair, hardly. I won't change the fact, no interest. That's that's interesting. That's good. Because, you know, they have called people who disagree with this bigots and racists and all the other folks on the dictionary. Considering some major law scholars walked off this Amazon series, I don't have much faith in this. Yeah, you know, faith is wilting away as we speak for the show. but some people will still give it a chance. And when it sucks so badly, they're not gonna point out the woke stuff. They're gonna talk about, oh, it wasn't good enough. They're gonna dance around the wokeness. That's what they're gonna do. They're not gonna mention it. That's the funny part. Anyways, I just wanted to talk about this as well because guess what? Tolkien has done things that I've been working on. For example, Tolkien worked on such a vibrant world, and I've been doing that for the past 2 years, working on my own world with rich history, rich law, rich environments, stuff like that. And I had no idea Tolkien has done such a thing like that. Uh, so I have to say, hey, thank you so much for giving this video a chance. Have a wonderful Friday.